fall's quickly approaching, right? And we're all jacked up. We're shooting our bows and we're getting trail camera photos. But the one thing nobody thinks about is tree stand safety. 80% of us think, oh, it's never going to happen to us. I'm never going to fall out of my tree. I'm always safe. Yet it happens every single year. You have multiple fatalities during the season. You have spinal injuries. 75% of those accidents are when you're getting in or out of your tree stand, especially that last step into your stand or that first step out. A lot of people don't put the high handhold. There's a lot of things that go into tree stand safety, but what happens after the fall?
911, what's the state of your emergency?
I just fell out of my tree stand.
Okay, sir, are you able to move at all?
No, my back, something's wrong.
Okay, don't try to move, sir. Help is on the way.
We really dug the research in to find out what happens. I wanted to see it, and that's where we came across LifeLink. These guys are a wealth of knowledge. Actually, I'm going to take that back because most of them are women.
Modern Hunter is brought to you by
"911, what's the state of your emergency?"
I just fell out of my tree stand.
Okay, sir, are you able to move at all?
No, my back, something's wrong.
Okay, don't try to move, sir. Help is on the way.
My name is Matt Tremolin. I'm a flight paramedic. I've been with LifeLink 3 for going on 3 years. So we work 12-hour shifts, and when we come into work, first thing we do is we get all of our personal gear ready. So our flight helmet, our bag of safety gear, masks, stuff like that. And then we go out to the aircraft and we do a full check of all of our medical equipment, the entire interior of the aircraft, make sure we have oxygen levels, all our batteries are charged, our stocking levels are up to par in the bags. And after that we come inside and we meet with the pilot who's done his or her check of the aircraft to make sure that everything in it is mechanically sound. And then we sit down and we do a crew brief.
Morning, guys. Weather today, it's supposed to improve a lot. I think we're gonna have smoke in the air all day, so there might be some reduction in visibility, but nothing that's gonna keep us from flying.
Okay, don't try to move, sir. Help is on the way.
About 50% of the call volume that we have are scene flights. And you know, during the hunting season time, there's a lot of people out in the woods, a lot of people doing a lot of different activities, riding UTVs, being alone in the woods, climbing tree stands. There's a lot of safety gear out there, and you know, unfortunately, it's not used as much as it should be. So when we get a hunting-related call, the first thing that's going to happen is we're going to get tones to the base that are going to give us a location. They're not going to give us a patient status, and what we do then is we look at weather on all 3 legs of our flight, to the patient to the hospital, and the hospital back home. And we make sure that that weather is compatible with a safe flight. And then once all 3 of us are in agreement that the weather is capable for flight, we'll accept the flight. Ideally, we want that in under 10 minutes from the call time to skids off the ground.
11. 11 copies. We're checking weather.
Copy 11, flight to go. You'll be on Mark 2, taxiing to Tomahawk Fire. Mark 2, Tomahawk Fire.
Copy Mark 2. Guys ready?
We're ready. Got my sunglasses.
These LifeLink individuals really love their jobs. I mean, they're going over the helicopter constantly, making sure that it's up to date. They're there 24/7. Somebody is in that office at all times. And the whole process of when they take that call to figure out if they can go on the call, you know, they're looking at, you know, how close is it to their proximity? Is there anybody closer to them? And this is all a process that goes relatively quickly, right? They don't want somebody out there, you know, that made that fall or from a car accident. They don't want that individual out there very long, right? So they're trying to process that information as quickly as possible, making sure that they can get the right flight scheduled as quickly as possible to get that person out of trouble.
So once we're in the air and we're within 5 minutes of the scene, we're going to start reaching out to our first responder partners on the ground.
11 is listening for the PR. Just 5 minutes south of here. We got 4 souls on board, 2.1 on the fuel, low and approved.
Found him. Hey, my name's Jake. I'm with Tomahawk Fire. What's your name?
Brett.
Can you tell me what happened?
Usually the fire department's the first ones to get to the scene, and they'll do a rapid assessment of the patient, determine acuity level, and then get a hold of us on the radio. We'll use a Mark II channel, communicate on landing zone status, make sure it's safe, see if there's any obstacles, get a decent wind direction, make sure that that scene is secured by the first responders. We'll do a high orbit, check in everything for ourselves, and then we'll come in and do a nice safe landing.
Watch your step. Everybody walk together. We're almost there, Brett.
Modern Hunter is brought to you by
For this segment of Modern Hunter, I want to talk to Ryan a little bit about LifeLink, and specifically, we already saw kind of what you do, but where do these funds come from?
Yeah, well, we've been a nonprofit organization since 1985, and a big portion of our revenue historically has come from the reimbursements on the transports that we facilitate. However, we negotiate with insurance providers a lift-off fee and then a mileage rate, and that's the extent of the reimbursement. There's a lot that we provide in the aircraft and with the education of our crews that go beyond what we get reimbursed for, and so that's why we focus on things like philanthropic giving, looking at corporate partnerships, grant funding to help supplement where we don't have coverage.
What, as an individual, because I know you're going after corporate sponsors, which is great, but individuals that either went through this or have lived through it, what could they do?
Yeah. Well, it's important to know that every bit of support helps. Everything adds up. Every gift matters, and so obviously people can donate. We've had individuals that we have flown. Had one individual that reached out to us recently, typically hosts an annual fundraiser with his network, was transported by us, was grateful for the care that he received, and has now made us the beneficiary of that event this year. And so incredibly generous of him, but making donations, hosting a fundraiser, and then sharing stories is something as we go out into the community and try to share the importance of the mission of LifeLink 3. Hearing more from the community, particularly those that we've transported, about their experience can be helpful to really illuminate that message.
I love the idea where one of you, the guys that used your service, right, he's willing to put on an event and gather more money, because I think once you have a person that's went through that sort of trauma and really sees it, now they understand the need, right?
Yeah.
Because us guys from the outside looking in, you just like, that's never going to happen to me, but it could, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's the bottom line.
And it's also important to look at it against the backdrop of what's happening throughout our region in terms of healthcare, as particularly in more remote areas and rural communities, as some of the bricks and mortar facilities are more at risk of closing. It's important to make sure that we're delivering care wherever it is needed, and that's really one of the values of LifeLink 3, is that we can bridge those gaps. We can come to wherever it's needed, and make sure that people get the care that they need wherever they are in whatever circumstance they're facing.
And unfortunately or fortunately, hunters are in those areas, right?
Yeah.
We don't want to be by the other people. We're not by the cities. We're out in the country.
Yeah.
We're riding ATVs.
Yep.
We're doing all this dangerous stuff that we don't think is dangerous, but an accident can happen.
Yeah.
So if you want to make a difference, check out LifeLink today. Donate. I mean, it's going to go a long ways. No matter how much money you give, it's going to make a difference.
Absolutely.
Well, there it is. You saw the whole mock, and this was a mock, and you always think it's not going to happen to you, right? But there's a good chance there's only 39% of the people actually are wearing their safety harness at all times, or you're staying connected to the tree from the minute you're leaving to the minute you drop on the ground. So it could happen to anybody. Thank God there's modern heroes out there today like the LifeLink individuals.
I do this because I've always liked helping people. It's a really good feeling when you can get to someone who needs help and get them to the right spot and make them feel better while you're doing it. It's a very satisfying job.